are here. Thank you to everyone who's joined the Sable International hosted webinar with the University of Nottingham. I'm so privileged to be co-presenting with, a senior recruitment manager from Nottingham. Her name is Kerry. We're super fortunate to have you here today. So just a bit about what's going to happen today, everyone, just in terms of the proceedings of the webinar. So we'll be running from about 3 to about 4, but I can see that Kerry has quite a lot of juicy information for all of us, quite a lot of things to go through in terms of just the offerings of Nottingham, the city itself. So just from my side, my name is Cameron. I am the Business Relations Advisor for the Sable International Study Abroad Group based in South Africa. And I host quite a few of these webinars with some of our partners across the globe. So yeah, what's very special about today is that we have a Russell Group University today that is presenting. And for those of you who don't know what a Russell Group is, don't worry, stay tuned. Kiri will be presenting on that. So without further ado, I just want to give a huge warm welcome to Kiri, just in terms of setting up some time today to go through all that the University of Nottingham has to offer. If you have any questions, please make sure to put them into the chat. Unfortunately, there won't be any mics available from our attendees, so just make sure that you can please provide any questions into the chat. Without further ado, I'll leave it over to Kiri. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cameron. It's such a privilege and a joy to be here with you today, everyone. And we're really pleased to be partnering with one of our trusted representatives, Sable, to bring to you this webinar today. Once again, apologies for the slight delay. We're having a few technical issues. But without further ado, I'll carry on with our slides. Just to let you know, I've got quite a bit to cover today, but it's also a lot of pictures in the slides. So don't let the number put you off. So how and what you need to know in order to apply and discover the University of Nottingham. First and firstly, my name is Kiri. I'm the International Student Recruitment Manager for students specifically who apply from Africa. So I have a lot of expertise of helping students like you discover our university and apply to our university. Why you may want to consider the University of Nottingham. The city of Nottingham is very well known for 3 things: the Robin Hood legend, our sports club, and having one of the best universities in the world. We are currently ranked 108th in the world according to the QS rankings, and we have many accolades in terms of our student experience, being one of the top universities for sports, and mainly for being a Russell Group University. What is a Russell Group University? A Russell Group University is a highly ranked university in the UK, kind of the equivalent of the Ivy League universities in the US. And what that really means to students in practice is that our university is research intensive. We are a research powerhouse. So not only our academics will be teaching you, but they will also be producing research on the side, which means that the kind of labs, facilities, equipment that you'll have access to, the number of libraries, online resources are unparalleled and much no other. Going back to the beginning, I also wanted to cover why you may want to consider studying in the UK to begin with. I know a lot of you will come from countries with excellent local universities, but also you may want to be considering what else is for me out there. The quality of education in the UK is unparalleled. Our degrees are very prestigious, are very well sought after. Additionally, in the UK, we do shorter degrees in comparison to a lot of the countries in Africa and also to the other English-speaking countries. Our undergraduate degrees are only 3 years in duration, and we only do 1 year, 12-month masters. Our degrees are much more specialized and more in-depth. So we tend not to do too many of those major minors, mixed kind of courses. From day one, you'll be going in depth and learning and have a lot of optional modules on exactly the topic of your own choosing. Of course, studying in the UK will mean having access to a very different student experience. You'll be mixing with people from all over the world because we have very diverse campuses, but also you'll be able to access the UK cultural experience. You'll be able to visit some of the very famous landmarks, for example, Big Ben, the Nottingham Castle. And of course, studying in the UK means that you'll be able to remain in the UK after graduation. Currently, it's 2 years after graduation or 3 years if you're a PhD student, which will allow you to take advantage of UK wages, gain UK work experience before you return to your home country or seek out sponsorship for you to remain with an employer longer than that. Just to get your bearings, to let you know, Nottingham is a city in the centre of the UK in an area called the Midlands. We're about 90 minutes away from London. We're a medium-sized city. So if for those of you that may have been to the UK before, we're definitely not as big as London, the capital of the UK, but there's plenty of amenities in Nottingham. There's never a shortage of things to do. And we are very well connected by trains, buses. We've got our own airport as well in the city of Nottingham. In the UK, you will find two different types of universities: a city-based university that has buildings, accommodation, libraries dispersed and scattered across the city. We are the opposite. We're a campus-based university, which may be what you are used to. So all of our facilities are close together in a cluster. We have 3 different campuses in the UK, all quite nearby, and we're only about 15 to 20 minutes maximum away from the city centre. So you do get the best of both worlds, where you can just roll out of bed and be at your classes really quickly, but then the city centre is right on your doorstep. It's quite a compact city centre. You can walk from one of the city centre to another within 30 minutes. It's very much a friendly, diverse city, very much relying on its students and very active because of the student population. A very safe city. We've been repeatedly awarded the Purple Flag Award, which is a signifier of how safe and welcoming a city is. And then most importantly, I know for a lot of you that come from countries with fluctuating currencies and currency exchanges, Nottingham is one of the most affordable and budget-friendly cities. So the cost of living will be significantly lower, especially in comparison to some of the other big cities, especially in comparison to London. In our city centre, you can expect to find everything from shopping malls, museums, art galleries, an underground cave system, all the kind of restaurants that you may think of, supermarkets to buy ingredients from back of home. So you will never, never, never miss a flavour from home. And if you ever get a little bit homesick, again, you can go with your friends, and I'm fairly sure you will find a place that will remind you of your home countries, or you can show your friends what your local cuisine looks like as well. This is just a picture of what our city centre looks like, the old market square. During winter, we put a lot of events there, like bring water slides and sun and turn it into a beach. During winter, you'll find Christmas markets, a big ice ring, a big wheel for you to go on rides. And like I've mentioned, Nottingham is very well known for the Robin Hood legend, the legendary medieval outlaw. And this is what brands Nottingham as the city of rebels. A rite of passage, a bucket list item for a lot of our students is to go and visit the Robin Hood statue outside of the Nottingham Castle and take a picture pretending to be drawing an arrow. We have a big reputation for sports, both at the university, being one of the best universities for sports, but also within the city. You may have recently in the last few years heard of Nottingham Forest being one of our best football teams currently in the Premier League, but it doesn't stop there. We've got the Trent cricket ground, we've got the Motor Point ice hockey arena, where we go and support our Nottingham Panthers. So there's a lots and lots and lots of sports going on in the city, but those are just some of the highlights. Lastly, Nottingham is a very green city, and you will find that when I show you pictures of our campus as well. My favorite spot for walks is definitely Wallington Park, which is right across from our University Park campus. It's a deer park where you have 2 different herds of deer. I always say try not to go too close, try not to pet them. It's okay to take pictures, but this park is really famous for having a manor, and not a really old manor from the 1800s. It houses a permanent dinosaur exhibit if you like your dinosaurs. It's also the place of where Dark Knight Rises, the Batman film, was filmed. So, you know, there's the legends that Batman also lives in Nottingham as well. Now, a little bit around our university and our community. We are one of the largest universities in the UK. We've got almost 40,000 students studying with us, 10,000 of them international. So we have a big history of knowing exactly how to help international students apply to our courses, gain admissions, apply for a visa if they need to settle and travel onto our campus, and really ensuring that that transition to university life is smooth. So besides joining a very diverse student community, you will also be joining a very diverse alumni community. And we do have global alumni networks that run across the world. We do regular alumni events all across Africa, from South Africa, Nigeria, Kenya, you name it. We do have international alumni ambassadors based there that can help you tap into a professional network once you go back to your home countries. Or again, there'd be very valuable contacts to make in terms of finding jobs, market intelligence, mentoring, and so forth. We have 5 different faculties for you to choose courses from. I would say most popular for students from Africa will definitely be our social science faculty. That includes our business school. We've got one of the top business schools, not just in the country, but also in the world. It's triply accredited, which means that if you do any subsequent qualifications after your degree, you will be gaining exemptions from any exams that you have to sit. Within our science faculty, you will find anything from biomedicine to veterinary medicine, which I know is a very, again, sought after course that sometimes you cannot find, or it's not as easy for you to gain admission in your home countries. We of course teach medicine and all kinds of engineering that you can think of, including civil engineering, aerospace, mechanical, manufacturing. Of course, we teach economics, ecology, any kind of course from Viking studies to how to brew your own beer. We do offer it. As a Russell Group University, I've already touched a little bit upon this. You will find the best kind of facilities, anything from 8 libraries that do stay open 24 hours during exam times, to VR classrooms, because we do like to teach in a variety of way. We've got a 3D printing lab as an example. We've got a flight simulator on campus that you can try. You've got a lot of study spaces that our students can just book and work on like group projects, or if they want to find a quiet room to individually study. As the Russell Group University, like I've mentioned, the kind of buildings, facilities, equipment will be unparalleled, and our academics use exactly the same labs as an example for their own research. So if you see some of our electrical engineering labs, computer science lab, I guarantee you they have more kind of equipment that you will need for your undergraduate and master's studies. We have 3 different campuses in the UK, like I've mentioned. University Park campus is definitely the largest one, about 300 acres of parkland. So to equate that to you in other terms, that would be about 175 football pitches. So it's a massive. This is where we teach subjects like engineering, law, humanities, languages, ecology as an example. We've got a beautiful lake. We've got our historical Trent building that you can see there in the background with the clock tower, very beautiful and green gardens. And this is just an aerial view to show you how big University Park is. All those sports pitches that you see over there, those are also part of the university, and I'll be talking about sports later on. But you will find accommodation, sports facilities across all of our 3 campuses, and a big concentration of those will be on University Park. Nearby, just on the top right corner there, you might not be able to see it really well. There's a small red building that you may be able to spot. That's our Jubilee campus. This is where we teach business school subjects, computer science, English language, and so forth. It's a slightly different campus, even though it's very close by. It's a little bit more modern. It was only built in the last 20 years. A lot of our buildings there are much more futuristic in terms of architecture. You will find big spiral buildings like that one. You see our chemistry building on the right hand side, built alongside GSK, one of the biggest chemistry pharmaceutical companies in the world. We've got quirky buildings like this one, which is like a hexagonal library where you walk around it in a spiral and it looks like it's floating on the lake. And behind that, you've got the business school. And again, an aerial view, same facilities, again, repeated here, accommodation, sports, students' union, and student center. And lastly, you've got the Southern Bonington campus, which is a campus in the countryside, about 20 minutes away from the University Park campus, which is in the countryside by the nature of the courses that we teach there. We teach biosciences, veterinary medicine, our brewing science courses, nutrition, dietetics. And it's because we've got the right kind of laboratories there. We've got a 3D imaging farm, a dairy farm, greenhouses. You can find horses, you can find sheep there. A lot of our veterinary students get to keep pets as well, so you find guinea pigs. And again, it's really lovely, some really impressive buildings there as well that you can make use as part of your courses. And again, you can see that it's a little bit outside from the city centre, but you can very, very easily travel there using our free hopper bus. Lastly, the last slide I wanted to point out is that some of our students may need to have access to our university hospital sites. The closest one will be the Queen's Medical Centre, which is right next to our University Park campus and opposite Jubilee campus. But for any other sites like the Derby Hospital or the City Hospital that you may need to travel to, we do offer free university transport, and that will again include free transport to Jubilee and Southern Bonington. Our free shuttle bus runs from very early in the morning, from before 8 o'clock up until midnight, so you will never be stranded on one campus. And we want to make it easier for you to choose which campus is the best fit for you to live in, which campus is the best fit for you to study at. Now, a big question in terms of like who's eligible and our entry requirements. If you are applying for an undergraduate course, I wanted to let you know that applying to a UK university as an undergraduate student is probably the easiest platform that you will find. We have a common application platform that all UK universities share called UCAS. So you go on UCAS, you can make up to 5 university choices. We normally will recommend applying to 5 very similar courses, and then you just make one application for those. If you are a postgraduate student, you apply directly through our website. So if you're applying for a master's or for a PhD or for an MRes, again, you make an application directly via our website instead of UCAS. Just to let you know, for postgraduate students, from any students looking to study a postgraduate taught course, we typically have a £50 application fee that you have to pay. But for this year, up until the end of June, if you do choose to apply for September 2025 entry, we will be happy to waive the application fee if you apply through one of our trusted agents. So if you were to apply via Sable, you wouldn't have to pay anything towards your application fee. So some students, depending on which curriculum you're studying in your current high school, may have to go through a foundation course. A foundation course is a 1-year preparation course that you have to go through before you study at university, especially because in the UK we have a year 13 for students studying A-levels. But if you come from South Africa, you've done A-levels, you've done IB or APs, don't worry, you don't have to go through a foundation year. If you haven't done as well in your high school diploma, if you've done YAC, if you've done YC, KSESE, if you're in Kenya as an example, chances are you will have to go through a foundation program. We teach a foundation program on our campus. It's being offered by our provider called Kaplan. We guarantee you progression to our university degrees provided you pass the foundation program. So we work very, very closely with our foundation provider to ensure a smooth transition from that one additional preparation year to our university courses. But most of you will have to you'll be able to go into university directly. If you're a student from South Africa, we can accept the matric, we can accept IEB boards or the NSC. You will find our equivalences there. For most of our courses, we'll be asking you for 5 sevens or anywhere between 2 sevens to 3 sixes. So for the NSC, we'll be looking at your top 5 courses, excluding life orientation, and up to a maximum of 2 languages. But we also accept, like I said, A-levels, IBs, depending what you're studying. Just to let you know, if you're a student living in Africa, whatever A-level requirements you see on our website, so say you go on our website to look up the business course, and that will say an AAA. If you come from if you're currently living in a country in Africa, regardless of your nationality, we will actually make you an offer for a grade lower than that. So if the course is saying an AAA, we will actually try to make it a little bit more flexible for you to come to our university, so you can actually receive an offer for an AAB instead. But we'll also need to see evidence of your English language. Again, we accept a variety of qualifications for that. For master's level applicants, we will typically need to see for most of our courses the equivalent of an upper second class, a 2-1. That will typically be around 70% and above. In your from degrees of from your university, that will be a GPA of 3 or out of 4 or 3.5 out of 5. Please do go and have a look on our website for our exact entry requirements for each course. We do have a small number of courses, including public health, that accepts a 2-2, a lower second class. We sometimes do have some flexibility if you have additional work experience. But on every single country page on our website, you will find the exact equivalences that we will need for a degree from the country that you're coming from. And then from PhD students, as a research university, of course, we receive a lot of PhD applications. What you need to apply is a strong master's degree, a research proposal, and then identifying a possible supervisor at our university. Beyond that, like I've mentioned, it's very straightforward to applying either directly to our university or through UCAS if you're an undergraduate student. We will need your academic transcripts, your certificates, evidence of your English language ability. Even if you come from an English-speaking country, we'll need to see evidence. That will be an IELTS test, an IGCSE exam, a matric certificate with English language scores. If you've done your first degree in an English-speaking country, we could potentially waive that requirement as well. A personal statement explaining your interest in the course. We're not trying to cut you out. At the University of Nottingham, we're much more focused on your grades and your exams. So the personal statement is really just a checkbox for us to ensure that you've done your research on why you want to go and study this course, that you understand what the course entails, what career prospects you will get out of it, and then references if you're a postgraduate student as well. This is what we will need. A big question I always get from students is, okay, we apply, we get in, what about accommodation? What happens once we arrive on campus? Just to let you know, we guarantee accommodation for the duration of your studies, which not a lot of universities do. So if you're a student studying on a 3-year degree, we can guarantee you accommodation for 3 years in a row. But what I find is that most students after year 1 tend to go and live in private housing. But as long as you apply to our accommodation, we will definitely allocate you a room. In the UK, typically you wouldn't find twin occupancy rooms like you find in other destinations. So you'll most likely have your very own room, and then you have a choice between a shared bathroom or an ensuite bathroom. We have catered and self-catered halls. You can find a sample of our menus online, but in your own bedroom, you will have a desk, a chair, your own bed, a wardrobe, a mirror, access to stable Wi-Fi. So it's a really popular choice for our students to go into university halls of residence, especially in their first year, when they wouldn't know the area as well, because private landlords may ask you to pay quite a hefty bit of your rent in advance, while we can accept installments. Because we have a dedicated team called the Residential Experience Team, ResX, there to look after you. So it's the best way for you to make friends. We put lots of daily events together, anything from kite making to bringing a chef on campus every Thursday to teach you how to cook, because it might be your first time away from home. Our residential experience team is there to be your very first point of contact, to mediate if you've got any disagreements with your housemates, to help you move and provide advice. So this is why we always recommend going into halls of residence in the first instance. Just something for you to talk about with your parents and have at the back of your mind is the financial investment that it takes to come and study at a UK university. You can find our fees clearly marked on every course page on our website. Just to preempt it, as a Russell Group highly prestigious university, you will find that our fees are slightly more expensive than some other universities, but it's only because of the quality of our courses, the alumni network and graduate network that you tap into, how sought after our graduates are. So that return of investment is definitely there. And then just the other thing to keep in mind is that when you apply for your student visa, you need to already be able to demonstrate that you hold the full amount for the first year of tuition fees, plus a mandatory around £10,000 for your living costs that we, the UK Home Office, the UK Immigration Department mandates that you need to hold for you to be able to sustain yourself for the first 9 months of your degree. There's no deposit to pay if you're an undergraduate student. If you're a postgraduate taught, a master's student, you just have to pay a small deposit of £3,000, £2,000 if you're a business school, an additional £2,000 if you're a business school student. And then beyond that, you can actually pay your tuition fees in 3 installments. University starts at the in the last week of September. The first installment is actually not due up until mid-October, so we do give you plenty of time. But like I said, you just have to prove to the UK Immigration Department that you can already afford your fees before you apply for your student visa, but the exact payments can be made afterwards. A big question, I guess, from students from Africa is scholarships, though. I think I went a page back rather than forward. There we go. So we have 2 different excellence awards. If for undergraduate students, you can tap into a scholarship that gives you between £2,000 to £6,000. If you're a postgraduate student, a scholarship that gives you £4,000 to £8,000. These are for students that have demonstrated repeatedly academic excellence. They're closed for September 2025 start, regrettably, because we've already had to allocate those already. But for anyone looking to apply later on, those will be available to you. We're making some changes. Currently, you have to make an application for the scholarship. Potentially, they will be automatic next year, provided you can demonstrate good results in your high school diploma or in your first degree. We also have scholarships for elite athletes. So I've got a lot of students from Africa that come and play anything from rugby, hockey, water polo, basketball with us. So please do get in touch if you play at the professional level. We can give you up to £5,000 towards your tuition fees, but the rest of the package can be up until £13,000 to cover costs towards competition expenses, mentoring, sports psychology, nutrition advice, and so forth. We also have another scholarship as our flagship scholarship, especially for postgraduate students. It's called the Developing Solutions Scholarship, and this scholarship can award either 50 or 100% of your tuition fee. So it's a very, very, very generous scholarship, and I just wanted to let students know that we have definitely more than one. I will say a really big number of those scholarships to give out, and this is a scholarship specifically for students who come from Africa and have done their first degree in Africa as well. So you will not be eligible if you've done your first degree at another English-speaking country, but if you've done your first degree in your home country or another country in Africa or another country which is eligible to apply to the scholarship, then you will be eligible as well. For these scholarships, and to receive either the 50 or the 100% amount towards your tuition fees, we're really looking for students that can demonstrate as part of the application process how the knowledge that will gain as part of their degree will help them meet a challenge, a skill shortage, a knowledge gap that their home country is facing, and how they're willing to take that knowledge back to their home country. It's not mandatory that you return back to your home country after graduation if you don't so choose, but within the application process, we want to ensure that, if we're going to give you such a substantial award, it will go through and it will support some of the development and developmental and impacts that your home country is trying to achieve. A few things around careers. I know a lot of you will be looking to start a university degree because you have a career in mind, or you want to get a successful degree and then a successful career out of it. So our career service, our award-winning career service, is one of the best in the country. I used to work with our international careers consultant very, very closely, and she did a webinar for us last week, and the knowledge that she has is unparalleled. So you wouldn't find a lot of universities with a dedicated international careers consultant. But the rest of our team, in addition to our international careers consultant, can give you the skills, the connection, and the support that you need to achieve the jobs of your dream. Having been ranked as one of the best universities for our graduate outcomes when it comes to our students getting into worthwhile jobs after their degrees. So we are one of the most sought after universities by top employers. So currently being ranked as the third most targeted by those employers that will, pay the big salaries and offer the sponsorship after the graduate visa route. And each year we help thousands of our students, gain relevant work experience that will help them tap into those graduate roles. Most of our courses come with a placement option or a year in industry, as you may have seen it being called, which means that you can take a year out and actually work in industry, apply a lot of the theory that you learn as part of your degree in practice. We do short-term internships, especially during the summer. We bring employers on campus, we bring recruiters on campus to speak to you, to give you that commercial awareness of what their companies are working on, their values that you can use as part of your interviews, so you can name drop their names and again showcase that you've connected with the relevant people in the industry and impress the people on those interview panels. We give you work-based experience as part of the curriculum as well, especially for our clinical health related courses. You will find lots of exposure within either labs or in the nearby hospitals. We do a lot of competitions on campus, and there's plenty of opportunities. So if you don't do a placement, as an example, it's not detrimental, but you can definitely supplement that with something else. But we can definitely help you. We've got international careers managers that look after every faculty. We've got a bespoke placement manager for every faculty as well. So we've got plenty of hands on deck to support you with your decisions. We can help you write anything from your very first CV by UK standards. That will be 2 pages long, so you'll need quite a bit to include there. We will help you prepare for interviews, assessment centers, and offer simulations, so you know exactly what to expect and you don't go into an interview and you panic. We do a lot of upskilling, a lot of workshops on how to write a successful LinkedIn profile, or how to write a business proposal if you want to start your own company. We have an enterprise building on campus where we help students connect with other startups, gain funding, that sort of thing. Plus connect you with lots of local and global employers. Some of the bigger employers are actually headquartered in Nottingham. You will find Boots, the biggest pharmacy in the UK, 15 minutes on foot away from our campus. A lot of our students will go into pharmacy or their marketing department, or into drug discovery. Rolls-Royce is headquartered 40 minutes away from our campus. A lot of our students will go and work in the automotive industry with them, but also in the aerospace department, work very closely with the Big Four in accounting, with a lot of the international companies like Walt Disney, Unilever, if you're looking to manufacturing. And of course, we give you the right kind of skills for you to be able to discover the hidden labor market jobs in the smaller companies, those that you will only be able to find through word of mouth. As an international student, you're allowed to work 20 hours per week. So again, that's an additional way of you to supplement your experience on your CV, but also supplement your income and gain a little bit of pocket money. We have a website on campus called Unitems, where we advertise more than 5,000 roles every year to help you find those reliable jobs specifically on our campus, for you to land those part-time jobs. And lastly, like I've mentioned before, if you do study at our university, you will have access to the graduate visa that currently allows you to stay in the UK, even if you haven't found a job, to look for a job or to work for 2 years after graduation if you're a bachelor's or a master's student, or for 3 years if you're a PhD student. You can only take advantage of the graduate visa route once. So if you're also planning on doing your master's, please activate it at your point of most employable after you've done both your bachelor's and master's degree, if you're looking at doing both. And then very briefly, I promise, we are coming towards the end and we'll open the floor to Q&A. Being one of the largest universities in terms of student population means that we've got one of the biggest students' unions as well. And in the UK, employers do pay a lot of attention at your extracurricular activities, so please do engage with them. We've got more than 450 student societies and clubs for you to choose from. Anything from dancing, music, a robotics society, a fintech society, a Quidditch society, a Taylor Swift society, a tea appreciation society, skydiving, everything is there for you to discover. And also, if we don't have it, you'd be very welcome to set it up. We've got lots of international, cultural, national, and faith societies. So anything from your Nigerian society to your East African society to your Muslim, Christian societies as well, because you will inevitably want to connect with people from your home country, but also make friends from across the world. We've got praying facilities on campus if that's important to you, and lots of volunteering opportunities. And most importantly, we always leave Wednesday afternoons free for you to have time to engage with these activities. One is a good way for you to escape your academics. Coming to university is yes about getting a good degree, but it's also about enjoying yourself. And I think sometimes during stressful periods, it's nice when you can join some of the student societies and speak to your friends and socialize. But also, like I've mentioned, employers will want to see, and they will specifically ask you during interviews about your teamwork, your time management, your ability to prioritize, your ability to lead. And you need to be able to derive examples from some of your from the student run clubs that you have joined or potentially run yourselves. And very last thing, and I will be remiss if I didn't mention our reputation for sports. We do welcome every single student on campus to join our sports family. A lot of our students play competitively, so we do have a lot of Olympians, a lot of Commonwealth athletes on our campus, but a lot of our students play for fun. We've been recognized as the top university for sports for 3 times in the last 7 years. So I will let the stats speak for themselves. If you were to go and check BACS, which is the British University's sort of like leagues table, you will find us repeatedly being scoring in the top 2 spots. So we're the best university for team sports, but we also do well in individual sports as well. Currently, we're second this year, but we're trailing the third team by more than 4,000 points, more than half the points behind us. We've got about 8,000 points this year. So, like I've mentioned, sports in Nottingham is a really big way of life. You will find it everywhere, even if you don't choose to go and play sports, or if you don't want to perform in sports. A lot of our students do get involved in coming and cheering for our teams because, like I said, we do tend to win quite a bit. We have amazing facilities. We've got a 40 million pound sports village on University Park, but you will find sports facilities across our other campuses as well. It's one membership and you can access all 3 of them. But also, if you stay in our hostel residence in your first year, with the big majority of them, you do get access to the sports facilities free of charge. But just to highlight some of the things that we offer, lots and lots of outdoors sports pitches. So anything from football, American football, soccer, rugby, both kind of rugby, rugby union and rugby league, hockey, ice hockey. Indoors, we've got a swimming pool, a 25-meter, not minute, swimming pool. There's a Olympic-sized swimming pool nearby as well. We've got a dojo. You can try new sports that you may not have thought of. You can try fencing. You can try archery. We've got a climbing wall. You've got your typical gym equipment, though. I recently had a friend of mine that competes in triathlons, and she noted how far beyond the equipment that you will find at your typical gym our equipment is. We've got an all glass squash court, which is very rare and maybe one or two that you can find in the UK. Paddle courses nearby, elite athlete high performance zones, and of course we offer lots and lots of exercise classes, from Zumba to spinning to weightlifting to circuit to yoga and Pilates. Everything is there, again, like I've mentioned, for you to be able to have an outlet from your studying, but also connect with other friends and look after your well-being. This is pretty much from me in terms of the presentation. Just to point out, we'll be opening the floor to Q&A now. I'm sure Cameron is already giving an answer, and if you wanted to get the contact over there, or I'll be very happy to put my email address in the chat for you to contact me directly, or go via our trusted representative, Sable. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kerry. Now I can maybe just give you a bit of a breather. There was a lot of information, but I think a lot of useful information for our listeners here today. I think, compacting compacting Nottingham into, 45-minute presentation, I don't think does it justice. And I think you managed to summarize and give the majority of the important information out to our listeners. So I'm just to open up and go through some of the questions that we have, Kiri. I think it was more, I just want to start. So one of them was the first few questions we had were just about applying. You did mention the application process. So just to recap, so we do have there's different avenues, and it does lead into another question. There's an opportunity to go through UCAS, and there's also a way to go through Sable International as well. So I'm just going to open the floor just in terms of what we do as well, just to some of you who may not be familiar in terms of who Sable International is. So what we are is that we're an international study abroad agency. So we have partners like the University of Nottingham, and part of our services, what we do is that we choose the right course for you. Or maybe you've listened to a webinar today and you're like, I really want to study at the University of Nottingham. What do I do? Right? I've heard all these great things about this top Russell Group university, but what's my next steps? So what you would do is you would go to an agency like Sable, where we would go through the specifics in terms of, okay, okay, Cameron, what sort of course are you interested in doing? And so now you've chosen a specific course, we would make sure that you have the correct documents, so that you can make a successful application. There are sometimes agent application portals, and as Kerry's mentioned, there's different avenues. You can either go through UCAS specifically for your undergraduate applications, which will involve, selecting 5 different universities as well. And then just in terms of some of the other questions that I wanted to go through as well, because it sort of leads into the next step. So now once you've applied and you've gained acceptance at the University of Nottingham, the next best step, or the next big step, is your student visa. And that can sometimes be tricky, not as easy to navigate. And that's where agencies, and specifically why we're the top agency for this, Sable International, will help you with your student visa as well. It's the next step. But at least what's nice is that if once you've had an informative session about Nottingham, even when you're dealing with an agency like Sable, what we're able to do is get those fine questions, similar like the questions we're seeing in the chat in terms of, can I apply with my A levels? I see some of these questions over here. All these specific information that you may not be able to get, because you are able to apply online, but sometimes your application can get lost in the wind, and you don't exactly know what's going to happen next, or you might even be rejected because you might have selected the correct, or chosen the right documents. That's what we're here for, as well as helping you with a student visa. So I hope that sort of helps you in terms of your different options that you have. And we would strongly suggest just going through Sable International, so we can take you through the extensive holistic approach. Right? So you're doing the university application, making sure you're choosing the right course. But then once you've applied and it's successfully accepted, we would help you with the student visa process as well. Even though, and I've mentioned I'm represent the South African division, Sable International has divisions all across Africa. We've got Nigeria, Uganda, Zambia, Mauritius, and Zimbabwe, just to name our 6 different regions. But that doesn't limit you in that sense. Just what we can do is that depending on where you're from, we will cater the service towards your needs in terms of what sort of schooling system, because there isn't just one size fits all answer. We're there to help you and navigate your study abroad journey on that sense. So hope that helps. I know it was a long-winded answer, but I know that we really did cover a lot of bases, and I hope it just encapsulates in terms of what Nottingham offers and what Sable does as well. So a few questions I see here were just around scholarships. Kerry, I just wanted to, there was the big one that you mentioned, there was the one
Well,
that where you, yeah, I wonder if you can just do a short recap on that. I
yeah,
think that may be able to help some of just to recap on that.
definitely. So that's the scholarship we've had for 25 years now. So it's not going away anytime soon. And you can speak to a lot of our graduates from Africa. Very happy to put you in touch that have received it over the years. So it's a scholarship that gives you either 50 or 100% of your tuition fees. So be very careful. It only covers tuition fees, doesn't cover living expenses. There are some UK government funded scholarship like the Chevening or the Commonwealth that do cover living costs as well. It's on our Developing Solution Scholarship is only available to master's applicants. So it's for students applying to an 1-year master's. If you're applying to a few exceptions of our courses are 2-year masters, it will again cover you just for the first year. And as a scholarship, we're looking for students that can demonstrate as part of the application process how they can bring a solution to a problem their home country is facing. It can be as broad as you want it, because we want to be equally fair to a student applying from an entrepreneurship course or to a student applying from a chemical engineering course, to put their arguments forward. So what you do, you firstly apply to the university, you receive your offer. Hopefully, if you apply through one of our agents like Sable, they know exactly how to communicate with us. They can chase your application for you, so we can give you quicker admissions as well. And then once you receive your offer, you then, before the deadline, so for September 2025, the deadline has again already passed. Just because we're in the Northern Hemisphere, our recruitment cycles look a little bit different to what you might expect. But for any students that want to start their masters in September 2026, you will definitely be eligible to apply. Once you apply to our courses, receive admission, then you apply to the scholarship. Typically, our deadline is not until mid-springtime, which will be mid autumn for the South African students. But yeah, mid springtime, so mid May, mid April for us. And then in that application, you just pretty much tell us, I think, for example, I want to do a course in public health, and then I want to help out initiatives, as an example, that relieve sort of like teach about like hygiene. And then you tell us about your previous experience in that sector, what your career aspirations are, what kind of organizations you're looking to work with, and that's how we make a selection process for the top candidates. We do lots and lots of webinars on our scholarships throughout the year, so please do get in touch, and I'll be very, very happy to talk you through in more detail and invite you to some of our upcoming scholarships webinars that we talk a lot about our scholarships in more detail.
Perfect. Thanks, Kiri. I think some of our listeners might be very interested in attending some of those as well. So just going on to some other questions as well. It mentioned the UCAS application fee. Do you mind just giving a recap for our listeners what that would be? And then you mentioned also that there was also a question because we have someone who's saying that they love to study at the University of Nottingham, and if they would apply through Sable, would there be a fee waiver? Could you maybe just as quick as you can, the different just the prices and what that would entail?
Yeah. So if you apply through UCAS, there is a flat fee of £28 50 cents for you to be eligible then to apply to 5 different universities. And like I've mentioned, the advantage of that is that you pay one fee to one centralized app, and then that means that you write only one personal statement that focuses very much on the course that you're interested in, and then that will go to 5 different universities. So very much straightforward. If you were to apply for a master's degree, you apply directly via our website, and we typically have a £50 application fee. But because we know that we work with some really good agents and trusted representatives, we have decided to offer an application fee waiver to those students that go through the support of our agents. So if you were to apply to us until the end of June via Sable, then you wouldn't have to pay that £50 application fee.
That seems like a great incentive to do so. So there, like I mentioned, the holistic service that we would be able to offer you in terms of your university application through Sable, but then once that is done, also your student visa as well. You also don't want to leave that to the last minute. That's also an integral part of the application process as well. We've got a question as well from Muzi that says, if I'm a first year at university in Africa, how easy is it to transfer? So then we're looking at a question like maybe Muzi's doing a first year at, let's just say, university across Africa. In terms of transferring over, is there a process? How would the university approach this?
I will give 2 different answers because it will depend where you're coming from. If you have done your first year of a university in South Africa, we can't consider you based on your first year of university results plus your matric results. If you have done your first year at most of the other countries in Africa, we need you to have done on most occasions 2 years of university for us to be able to consider you for year 1 entry. We don't typically offer advanced entry into year 2, though it's not impossible. But I will just explain to students that for us to be able to offer you year 2 entry, we need to see that you have been taught exactly the same kind of modules that we have been teaching in our year 1, which is chances wise, probability wise, is very highly unlikely. So if you're say a law student that wants to come into year two, chances are you haven't been studying British common law on. That's why you need the beginning. It's not in a way to say that your previous study is not sufficient or you haven't done a great work with it. It's just it would be a disservice to you if we put you in year two and skip a class because you wouldn't have the right kind of knowledge to finish your degree by year three. So on most occasions, you will mainly be looking at year one entry. We do have a few exceptions, but we will have to see your transcript, what you have been previously been taught, and also what kind of grades you received, and also we have to double check with the specific course that you're interested in whether a transfer will be allowed. But typically we can consider a year one degree from South Africa and your matric, and a 2-year certificate from the rest of Africa for year one entry.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kerry. And then I'm just going to answer this next question. This does relate specifically to a South African student. So I know this was mentioned, but what you need to do is foundation year as an IEB student. So I'm just going to, yeah. So as Kerry has just gestured there, IEB is just the governing body. You would still receive an NSC certificate in that sense. The foundation year really does it depends based on location, but also in terms of how well you did. Kerry did mention that in terms of, so let's say now you've completed your final year of high school, but you've not as done as well as you need to do. Let's say maybe it's a high entry requirement sort of subject like medicine, just for example, or let's just say you want to go into business or like or a law degree. There could be a good opportunity, high probability, and Sable International would advise you on that as well in terms of what entry point you would need to take as well, just to make sure that you're not getting a rejection, but at the same time you're planning ahead so that you get the right opportunity in that sense as well. So no, it's not as simple as saying it's this type of degree that would always guarantee a foundation year. Sometimes that does equate specifically to the type of marks that you're getting from your high school transcript. So, but that is on a case-by-case basis. So sorry, Kerry, you wanted to jump in there a bit?
Just about the undergraduate students, when looking at your UCAS application, because you have 5 university choices, we typically would recommend being a little bit smart with your options. Going for a couple of aspirational universities, like ours, will have slightly higher entry requirements, having a couple of like safety net choices there as well. But if you haven't done as well as, say, having 5 6s in your IEB, then that's when you might want to consider foundation, just because, again, the step up from high school to university might seem a little bit too steep for you. And sometimes I find that students, if they go through foundation, it just prepares them a little bit better for the first year of university. If you've done well, you don't have to do foundation. And then, like Cameron was mentioning, it also comes down to your qualifications. But for South Africa students, you typically wouldn't have to go through foundation unless we feel that it would be a better way for you to prepare for that year one at university.
Perfect. And then, so we're just going, then we've got I think a specific question from a Zambian student. It was from Samuel as well, who was also very interested in playing. He just said, I did my secondary education in Zambia and did an O level in English. Would I still have to prove my English proficiency?
No, if you've got your O level in English and A level, especially if it's like a grade of like C and above, but also if you've done your first degree in Zambia, then we'll be able to waive that English language requirement.
Perfect.
I,
All right. All right. And then we've got, I think, it was more just in terms of the oncoming intakes, Kerry. So few students have mentioned, is September 2026 the only intake that is upcoming, or is 2025 September still open, if we can refresh that?
Yes, we definitely still are open for applications for September 2025, both for our master's and undergraduate courses. Just I will encourage you to make an application as quickly as possible, because some of those courses are quickly filling up. Some of them may need interviews, so it might take a little while longer for us to be able to make you an offer. So please do get in touch with Sable or ourselves if you have any questions, and we'll go through the process of what's still available for you to apply. But the majority of our courses still have availability. We're a really big campus. Like if we get more students than we expect, it's very easy for us to just expand and just add another classroom if we need to, just to make space for you. And we've got lots and lots of academics that can teach you, so the quality is not being compromised. But like I've mentioned, because the majority of you will be needing student visas, if you're looking to start in September 2025, please make sure that you do your research and put forward your application in the next few weeks to give us enough time to make you an offer and for you to apply to your visa.
Perfect. And then we've had another question, just going back a bit. It just do you have any famous graduates? And a question was asked, do we have any notable graduates from the University of Nottingham? Seems like you got quite a list there.
So many. For example, the one I always like to mention with our Africa alumni is Dr. Tedros, the head of WHO, is one of our public health graduates. We've got some very famous athletes, so Deng Piang in ping pong. What's his name now? It's escaping. We've got a very famous rugby player as well. We've got people playing for Nottingham Forest that have studied at the university. And then we will connect you. Like the person running Walt Disney is one of our graduates as well. I'm not going to give up the name, but yeah, we have alumni working in all industries. We have alumni in all fields. We can definitely connect you, and they do come on our campus, and they do a lot of like round tables with our students, and they give them mentoring, and they offer bespoke work and shadowing opportunities to them just to help you, because they've been through your shoes and they love our university and they want to give back.
Perfect. I think, yeah, and I think I think that covers an extremely important point that I think you've really highlighted through the session, that there's all avenues, whether it's sports, academia, there's a place for everyone, it seems, at Nottingham. You're getting high quality, quite high caliber of education, as well as the opportunity to get involved in extracurriculum activities that's not just sports, but in culture as well. And who knows where those paths might lead you. Like you mentioned, you do tap into the Nottingham network as well. Going to a prestigious university, you meet all sorts of people from across the globe, that wanted to go to a top level university. So the type of people that you'll be interacting with as well. Who knows, you might be friends, or if not, a notable graduate yourself as well. Yeah, let's just go through. We are running a bit out of time, but Kira, I'm not sure if you still have some time to go through some questions. It's not going to, the session will not end at 4 o'clock. Just so everyone is here. I just wanted to go through some questions that I think are very important, just for some of our listeners who may join in a bit later. And then I just want to go through, just because we have covered quite a few scholarship questions, just to our attendees over here. I will put later in the chat, just in terms of how you can get in contact with Sable International to start the process, as well as maybe any Nottingham related questions to Kiri as well. Can I apply to stay there after my matric year? Yes. Just in a simple answer, that is yes. We just try to recommend that. It's not to say that you take a long time. It's more just the fact that, sometimes when it comes to university applications, part of the requirement will be a CV, and you don't want to just have a gap on the CV without any way to justify or say why you can't. So that's just something to keep in mind, especially with a top caliber university like Nottingham. Looking at things like your CV, and that it is very important, because they're trying to look for the best type of student as well. Not to say that you can't, it's just that maybe if you can put in some form of information there, or maybe if you're what you're doing in that time as well. Just to answer, you can't study without a matric. I'm not too sure if you want to maybe elaborate on that. Just maybe, I just feel like just saying no is too much of a simple answer. Maybe if you can maybe elaborate a bit more to Ntlantla's question there.
It was how matric students apply and how we accept it.
It's more just, I think that there might be a listener over here who maybe just hasn't completed the final year of school. Yeah, so that's it.
Questions from my matric students. Oh, is it going to be recognized? Is it equivalent to A levels? And yes, it is. And then also the big question: when do I apply if I finish in December and then your academic year starts in September? So we always recommend applying during the beginning of our academic year the year before, which will be towards the end of your academic year. So between October to December is when we recommend that you apply using your preliminary results, which means that we will make you what is called a conditional offer based on you meeting our expected requirements. And because you will finish your academic year a good 6 months before UK students will finish with their exams, that means that you will get your results by January time, and your offer will go from conditional to unconditional much faster, which again means that you'll be able to apply for your visa quicker and really what's the word, like just really be ahead of the queue in that process of like looking for accommodation and so forth. I always then get the question of like, okay, what do I do during those 6 months? And I say you can enroll at the university, you can go traveling, you can do a part-time course. It's a very, very popular thing for students in the UK to take a whole gap year. For you, it would just be a 6-month gap. I just don't want you to, go to either two ends of the spectrum where you just study so much before you come to university and overload your brains, or also stop doing anything so you come to university and it takes you a while to adjust of how how we do academics and we write essays and so forth. So I always say to students, please find something to just keep yourself engaged. If you can, maybe go to a slightly warmer country. Come and visit our campus during summer. Just because you're going from winter, and then if you're coming to study in the UK, you're going into winter again. Go and enjoy yourself. So you come to campus in September and you're ready to really roll with it and hit the ground running with your studies.
Perfect. I think that's a great answer as well, because that's the thing. There is no straight answer with these types of questions. Just to everyone listening here as well, that's sort of the beauty, like I mentioned, of why you would want to get involved with an agency like Sable International, because we have direct line of communication with Kerry. So even when this webinar ends as well, Kerry will also put down her details. If you can just put your email, I think Kerry would just be helpful to put your email in the chat, just so that, because I see there's a lot. I'm just not sure if we'd be able to get to all the questions, specifically when it related to some of these scholarship questions as well. But just in terms of other general questions, I don't want to leave some of the session just before.
Let's
So
scholarship I can answer via email, so I can give you more personalized answers as well. And like Cameron said, please do go through Sable. They work very closely with us. They will know the shortcuts of like who to contact at the university, or they will know exactly what to ask me. They will eliminate some of that jargon that sometimes you find on university websites. So of course we always recommend our students doing that, plus that very vital visa support that I know a lot of our international students are a little bit sort of like mindful of doing on.
perfect. Thank you so much, Kerry. So just going through some other if we just have any types of, just trying to look. So Tamila asked, like, would I be able to upgrade my marks and upload my new finals? Yes. It's just that it's also just important that we, and especially Nottingham as well as myself, we get those updated transcripts will be very important as well. Just to show proof that you've gone through the application, you've rewritten, but also making sure that you upload and send us because sometimes, especially when it comes to receiving your new certificate, we would need to just make sure we have the most recent up-to-date certificate stating your new marks, or at least the statement of results as well. And then just see if there's any other questions over here. I'm also putting my details, or Sable International details. So it's study@sableinternational.com. You're more than welcome to get in contact with one of our study advisors. We'll be able to go through, the specifics in terms of how do we start applying now. As Kerry mentioned, the September 2025 is still opening, but a prestigious university like Nottingham, I imagine they're receiving applications, if not every hour, every minute. So, and also just in terms of, if you want to start applying now, it's also to make sure that you got enough time to get your student visa in order. The UK VI does crack down quite hard in terms of how specific and how how particular you need to be in terms of applying accurately. And we are experts in this space, so we'll be able to, like I mentioned, do your university application, but just make sure that your visa, in terms of all the
Mhm.
necessary requirements, are up to date. So I would recommend, not just from the university application closing time, but also from a visa standpoint as well, especially if you are in Southern Africa. So get those applications in. It is not too late. Like I mentioned, you're more than welcome to contact Kiri in terms of any questions with regards to Nottingham, and I'm more than willing to answer any question just in terms of starting that application process to get there as well. Let me just see any other, like, I think we're going to reach the end of our session, ladies and gentlemen. What I will do here as well is that, like, where's your branch in South Africa? In Johannesburg. So we've got two offices. So Sable International has an office in Cape Town. So all for Cape Townians or maybe people in the Western Cape, there's an office in Kenilworth in Cape Town, and then in Joburg there's an office in Bryanston. I'm more than willing, if you can't, so just in terms of where you can contact study@sableinternational.com, and we'll be able to start that application process for you, as well as if you want to set up a time to meet in person or online, we're more than willing to keep in contact in terms of referring you to one of our study advisors, or just chatting with myself, or even you can chat with Kerry as well if she's got the time to answer any of your specific questions. We really, that's the thing, we want to stress the urgency. If you want, there is time for next year. However, the current intake is still open. Get on that as soon as you can. Kerry, I don't know if you have any last minute thoughts, any last minute things you want to share.
Just to say again, to reiterate, the very central offices. I was just there a couple of weeks ago, so it's very easy for you to go there, meet the lovely staff. Also, yes, part of our job is also giving you a consultation. Tell me what you're interested in, and then I'll talk you through courses that you may not have thought of, or based on your grades, I'll be able to give you a little bit of an idea before you even apply where you stand with us. Just to reiterate that our campuses are open. If you wanted to come and visit us in person, see for yourselves, again, you can go through us and via Sable to arrange a campus tour. And just to thank Sable for this wonderful opportunity to come and speak in front of so many of you. Been really positive experience speaking to so many of you, so many questions. But like I've mentioned, if you do want to get in touch via email, I'll be very happy to provide some more personalized advice, bring you in touch with any of our academics, current members of staff, students. We've got WhatsApp groups for students that are coming to start with us in September. So we don't just leave you to it after your application. We really want to make sure that you know exactly what that experience will look like. So we do a lot of preparation with our students after you apply as well, in terms of like which airport to use, what clothes to bring with you, you know, how to get involved with life on campus. And I think that's why Nottingham ticks all of those boxes of really academically excellent, but also students who come really enjoy their time on campus and they make friends from life by joining our alumni community. So yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kerry. And just thank you to all our listeners to join here today. I think just in terms of the sheer amount of questions and the amount of people that joined us, just really just shows that the amount of interest in a prestigious university like Nottingham, and just that, just to show that Africa has a lot of students who really want to go abroad, improve their lives, and maybe bring that education back to their home country as well. You know, there will be a recording of the session. So all of the attendees, there will be a recording available to you. So you're more than welcome to revisit some of the important information as well from the presentation. So I just want to say once again, thank you to Kiri. A lot of information that I think just went down so well, as you can see with the amount of questions that we got with some of our attendees here today. And just thank you all for joining, for all your great questions. You do have our contact details. Please feel free to contact us. And yeah, let's see if we can get you to Nottingham in 2025. Thank you, Kiri, and thank you to all our attendees. Bye, everyone.
Hi everyone, thanks Cam.